So speaking of that, the property tax issue is one that the legislature failed to really move the needle on for a third straight year. As someone who knows both sides of this, obviously you were not part of the legislative process, but why do you think they keep coming up short? And what would Scott Schwab's plan be to rein in these property taxes?
Well, so the last time we've done meaningful property tax reform, I was vice chair of tax, and the chair was Rick Carlson. And he passed last year, but I learned a ton from him. He was just such a statesman. And it takes two things to get property tax reform done. It takes consensus, and it takes a Republican governor. And I tell folks I can give you both. But there's two ways you can go at it. You can go after the appraisal process, so you slow the increase of evaluations, or you can go after the mill. And we kind of in our plan go after both. And so, first off, it's not just putting arbitrary caps in the Constitution. I don't think that's good economics. I don't think that's free market. I think what you do is make sure there's a consistent valuation process across the state. The way appraisers appraise property, if you have a commercial property in Johnson and you have one in Andover, Kansas, they're not going to be appraised the same, even if they're the same footprint and the same market. And that's because they appraise according to what they think is right. They're not following state guidelines. And I really think when it comes to the software that they use, it should be regulated by the state and not just used by 105 different counties across the state. It's inconsistent, and it's not free market.
So what about, I know there was a push in the legislature to try to basically rein in local spending, which obviously is part of the reason that not the reason the appraisals go up, but certainly, they can toy with the mill rate and say, hey, the appraisal went up, but we lowered your mill rate. But ultimately, people don't pay property taxes based on mill rate. They pay it based on real dollars, based on the mill rate combined with the appraisal number. Do you think that trying to rein in local spending from municipalities and others is part of the answer here, or would you not go down that road?
Well, I don't think the state should push it. Like, nobody in the state likes it when the feds tell them how to spend their money. And nobody in the local community, and I learned this from Newt Gingrich, nobody in the local community likes it when the state tells you how to spend your money. So it's going to be a partnership between locals and statewide. The state needs to rein in the appraisal process, and they've done some things on the state mill levy. But we always go to say, hey, those important races for school board, the Johnson County Board of Trustees, or your community college boards in your cities and county commissions, people need to start running and saying, if you elect me, I'll cut your property taxes. And it is the mill levy. It isn't just the appraisal process. The mill levy is what you see in that property tax bill that you have to pay, whether it's personal or whether it's real property. So you have to go at it all approach. But it also takes a governor that's willing to go into that community and say, your property taxes are too high. It's your fault. And I'm going to start foot stomping it in your county if you don't start addressing it. Right now, we don't have a governor that's even engaged at the local level.
So I know you've got a plan. It's called the BALD plan, and that's part of a better, affordable living by decreasing property taxes. So obviously, is this the issue when you go around this entire state, as you have been doing now for months? Is that the consensus issue you hear around Kansas, which, let's be honest, does have a higher tax burden than, I believe, every state that borders it and has seen a net outflow of migration over the last several years?
Yeah, I would say that's the thing I hear the most on. And I've been running for over 15 months. It's ridiculous how long it takes to run for governor. But I was the one who started talking about this issue before anybody else did. And the reason why is because it's hitting people in their pocketbook. And whether you're single and you're just trying to start off on your own, I got a son who's getting married in December. He's worried about whether or not he can afford a house, and he's in real estate. This is a massive issue as it relates to our next generation and the previous generation that are trying to stay in their homes. There's a point in time in your life where you parent your kids and you parent your parents. And my wife and I are finding us in that situation where we're having to help her mother, who I love dearly, and we're trying to help my son to get off on a good foot. And government's working against us. And it should not be.